Once a week, the scope gifted. With the presence in your eyes, what a distraction. Beautiful to soul, and especially in action. This year, not fashion. Came in abundance. Films like in Sundance. Tech like the pop art. Touch queen. You are Curtis, a beast heart. You must carry, cause MCs, they all vary. Some do, they motivate. Work forward the hate. We serve hope on a plate. Across different platforms. This year, a buffet. Hydration like Boucher. Don't focus on a day. We always here for you. Don't when you're emotionally broke. Settling our knowledge and conversations, don't make them yours. What we run is a limit, not your hands on the torch. Take it easy like Sundays on the porch. MediaScope when you're emotionally broke. Settling our knowledge and conversations, don't make them yours. What we run is a limit, not your hands on the torch. Take it easy like Sundays on the porch. Now you award winning with no award tours. This culture meets the art. Podcast with the heart and essence of the growth, the palace and the people. Without you being equal, what we lack is ego. We're back now, so here we go. Run the show like Arsenio. Episodic or rituals, minds change the visual. Representation of our nation and its differences. Some explanation of our uniqueness and innocence. Mass media's intention is to desensitize. We praise the wise and knowledge is power with.
Welcome to another riveting edition of everybody's favorite media show. I always say that, but like there's a whole bunch of others. Not really media, tech, and pop culture show. This is MediaScope. We are here every single, just about every single Wednesday. Here's our here at 6 p.m. Eastern time on a bunch of platforms, which I'm going to get to in a moment. And actually, let's do that now. If you're watching us on Facebook or Bookface, what it do, Facebook? Thank you so much for being here. Both my personal page and the MediaScope page. And by the way, if you're on the personal page, the comments don't populate, so I am getting to you. Don't worry, I just have to check on my phone. If you are watching us on the tubing of the YouTube, how are you? Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. Also, if you happen to be watching us on LinkedIn, I know sometimes I'm a little slick with my comments toward you, but I really do love you, LinkedIn. So thank you for being here if you're watching on LinkedIn. And if you are watching us on Twitch, Twitchers, we love you. Thank you so much for being here. Also, if you happen to have the good fortune to be able to listen to us tomorrow on Gospel 107.1 FM in Nassau, Bahamas, and the rest of the Caribbean, we wish you a multitude of blessings. I promise I'm going to get the song back. I'm going to get the song back. But thank you all so much for being here. And guess what? If you are watching on YouTube, why are you not subscribed? All you have to do is hit the subscribe button, because we're trying to grow the YouTube as well. So hit subscribe, and we will be forever grateful to you. Also, like the stream. Like and subscribe. So YouTube is actually the easiest way to watch us because you don't even have to sign in. So you do have to be signed in if you want to like and subscribe, but I'm just happy that you are here watching. So thank you so much. Did I say who I am? I did not. Let me say hello. My name is Tachi. Dr. Tachi, as you can see, all things media, tech, and pop culture. I am a media professor, a filmmaker, a media content producer, also a journalist, and I'm here every Wednesday because of you. Absolutely am. And there is a new venture that you all know that I have coming up, and we have some comments. We've got some people coming in, so just stand by. I'm getting to you. There's a new venture that we have coming up, MediaScope Media, my new network, and I am super excited. We've got great creators that are on board. I'm just excited. In fact, this weekend, the show out of Detroit, 313 versus Everybody, they are doing a premiere party for 313 versus Everybody. If you are in the Detroit area, if you're in the 313, go. It is going to be amazing. I can't remember where it is now, but I will post on my timeline and my feed and on the MediaScope social media. By the way, follow us. I'll post it all there. And if you're in the 313, please go and support. They are absolutely amazing. It is an amazing thing. And in fact, since here's all the MediaScope information, you could go and to our website and find out all about it right there. We would love to have you. And you know what? Since I'm talking about it now, why don't I play the little intro? Here we go. right. And that is Indie Soup Media. Make sure you check us out. We're going to be launching very soon. We are launching this fall, early fall. So check us out. And without any further ado, I have talked enough. So let's go ahead and say hey to who we have here. Let's see. Shelly Shells. What's up, Shelly Shells? She's watching us over on the tubing of the U. Cheryl Woods. What's up, Cheryl? Is also watching us on YouTube. Rashawn Vincent on YouTube is saying hello. Well, hello, my dear. How are you? And good friend D Carpio is here, friend to the show. D Carpio, we love you so much. Thank you for being here. All right. Well, we got somebody in the 313. See Love, yes. 313 versus Everybody is one of the shows on the platform. So I will get you the information if you're interested in going. They are doing a premiere party. It is going to be lit. I was supposed to go, but I've got too much to do. So there will be a message from me. So if you end up going, you'll see a message from me welcoming everybody there. Also, let's see, who else do we have? Hey, Joan Balcom. Hello, Soror. How are you? Everybody's picking the platform of choice seems to be YouTube today. Hello, hello, hello. And Show says, I guess I should add a picture. You could. That would be helpful. But we know who you are. Absolutely. And yeah, I think we've got everybody, but people are coming in. They are filing in. And with that, you know what? Let's go ahead and Kelly Smith. Hey, Kelly, how are you? Good to see you. All right. So, and D Carpio said, I just got in from the doctor's office too. So happy you made it. I'm happy you made it. You all make this. So I got to give you a hug to let you know I appreciate you being here. You could be anywhere else. You could be eating dinner because I know you people are hungry. I know. But I appreciate you being here. Why not chat and chew with us? Bring your dinner. Look, this is a dinner and a show. Remember back in the day, dinner and a show? Why don't you make this your dinner and a show? In fact, we're going to do that. I won't be eating, but we'll make this dinner and a show. So bring your snacks, bring your noshables, bring your libations. And we are waiting, of course, for the food truck to pull up. So hopefully she will be here. Oh, speaking of which, beep, beep. Who's got the keys to the food truck? That would be Divine Wright, who is the Minister of Libation and the Queen of Food Truckery. She is here. She says the food truck is parked on YouTube, but serving all. Beep, beep. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for being here, Queen of Food Truckery. All right. So, and it's Taco Wednesday. We're never here on Tuesdays, always here on Wednesday. Grab yourself a taco. And I know we have a special in terms of honoring our special guests. Since we have a special guest, let's get some food specials up here. All right, so let's do this. Without any further ado, we have an amazing guest. You know who she is, but if you don't, let's surprise you. All right, so we are going to bring her on right now. Here we go. How are you?
I'm so good. How are you?
Oh, better now that you're here. I'm like, the gods have, the social media gods and God have showered us with such great guests recently. Like since the beginning of season 8, I've had so many people who have said yes to come on or have asked me if they could come on. So I am so appreciative that you are here and we're going to have a great conversation. Karima.
Absolutely. And I count it an honor because you're Dr. Tachi. Like, who wouldn't want to be on your show? Are you kidding me?
Oh, well, thank you. Tell that to the people who said no, who I asked. And I'm like, well, this is the one time I'm asking you. You will never get an invitation again. Yeah, they'll be back and they'll be like, nope. And I'll be like, nope, I asked you before, you said no, it's too bad. And you know, the interesting thing is it's like, it's all the people that that matter, not that other people don't matter. They're the ones that always say yes, that see the vision, that believe in things. They're the ones that see it as a platform. They're the ones that ask. They're the ones who say yes. The ones that have said like, no, they're like the YouTubers who are like, oh, they would be cool to have on the, oh, well, I don't have, then don't ask me again. Because once it gets big time, there's no space for you, Mesami. Anyway,
you missed out. Sorry,
you missed out. But how are you?
I am so good. I feel blessed. I'm good. Like better than good. I'm great. I'm doing great. It's wonderful.
And we could all hope to be so wonderful. That's amazing. So why don't you tell the audience about your wonderful self? I'm sure many people know who you are already, but please make sure that you ask questions for Karima, ask questions of Karima, and make comments as you always do. So Karima, go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience.
First of all, let me just say, being wonderful and being happy is a state of mind. So I love to stay there. So even if things aren't going great, they're wonderful because at the end of the day, I determine how my day goes. So that is why I always say when people ask me, how are you? I'm doing great. I'm wonderful. So that's that. But I am, first of all, I've been in the music industry for about, maybe 27, 28 years now. I started very young. I got a record deal in my freshman year at Oakwood University down in Huntsville, Alabama, where my daughter is currently a freshman. So crazy how things come full circle. It's crazy. But yeah, I started a group down in Huntsville called Virtue, and we have been rocking and rolling for some years now. We have about 7 projects. We're on a bit of a break. The group had 4 members initially, and then we evolved to just being 3 sisters, which was wonderful, even though we still call the other girls our sisters. But, God ultimately had this plan for me and my sisters to sing together professionally. As you guys can see, my little co-host down, my little dog down here.
Bean.
Yeah, he won't let me ever talk, do an interview or anything without him being present. So if you hear him, please ignore him. But my journey has been one that has been very adventurous, and so definitely on the entrepreneur side of being a singer and having to run business myself and make sure, that everything is properly running through the right channels. And so while music has been the love of my life, it also has been, I've had to do other things to stay afloat. And so within these 27 years of being in the industry, I've done, I started a soup company about 2016, and it's now starting to pick back up. COVID shut me down a little bit, but yeah, I'm back. Oh, well, about to be back in a big way. So yeah, if you follow the Karima page or that Soup Chick brand page, you'll know very soon what is about to take flight. So I'm excited. So, but singing, of course, it's always been my love. It's just always been there. It's always going to be there. I don't think it'll ever go away. I met you through Club Quarantine. And so I was able to release a single by myself, which was called Redeemer, and it did extremely well. But I'm a believer in like God orchestrating everything from the beginning to the end, and he listens to our prayers. He knows our heart's desires and everything. And so I thought that singing would always be and is a door for any and everything since it was my platform. And so I didn't take it for granted. And so I did pray about coming back as a solo artist because it's kind of different, when you've been singing for so long with your family. And I mean, they are truly my blood sisters, born and raised in New Orleans and, my best friends. And so when I was 8 years old living in New Orleans, it was my dream to sing. I didn't know how it was going to happen, but I just knew that watching my mom and the faith that she kept and had and raising us by herself, that I was going to be something great because she prayed for me, and so I did not take that for granted. And so I didn't, like when you're young, you just have like childlike faith. You don't care, about the logistics and all the things that go into, making things what they are. You just want it and you want it to happen. And so that was kind of like that's kind of the mindset that you kind of have to keep, like, it will happen because if you're called to do it, God is going to make a way for you. And so he did. He provided that for me by going to Oakwood. And I did not want to go because I just honestly, I didn't feel like I had some issues growing up in New Orleans with asthma, and so I was always sick. I could barely make it to
Mm,
school some days, and on those days that I didn't go, it was so much work for me to catch up on that I was just like, oh my God, I don't feel smart enough. You know, when you miss a lot of something and you don't know it, you're like,
yeah.
how am I gonna get this done? You know, and so I always had that kind of attitude younger because I was scared that I wasn't gonna be able to succeed. And so I found my
Mm,
way when I found my voice as far as singing. And so my
wow.
older
Wow.
sister was listening to me one day, and I overheard her tell my mom, "Mom, Karima can really sing," and I never forgot it. So that's where the
Wow.
love of singing came from. My mom always kept us in church and in choirs and all the things. You know, we always had something to do activity wise. We literally grew up poor. We had nothing. Our house burned down from, I think I was
Wow.
almost 5 years old. We had to move with my grandmother, who had a 3 room house, not 3 bedroom, but a 3 room shotgun house. And she invited us to stay
Wow.
with her. And that's how we lived, you know. But I just, through all of the things that we endured, and it wasn't horrible. We just didn't have a car. We found ways to have fun and make, you
Yeah.
know, the best of what we could with what we had. And so as long as we had love, we had food and a roof over our heads, we were fine. So a lot of people, when you're younger, you don't know until somebody tells you, you know, what you don't have and all those things. But we didn't let that get the best of us. We really focused on our ability to be great and the character that our mom had instilled in us from her example as a Christian woman. So we had a great time growing up. It's just that I thought that I wasn't smart enough to go to school, right?
Wow.
But if I hadn't gone to school, I would have never gotten a record deal because I had snuck.
And that's amazing. So there are a couple of messages there
Yes.
that yes, you don't always need to go to school in order to make connections, but
Right.
in your case you did, and it panned out. And here's the thing, you're not the only well-known Oakwood alum, right? There are some other very well-known people who went to Oakwood.
Yes. Actually, the guy that I was married to, Take Six, started there. Brian McKnight started there. A few other notables got their musical career started at Oakwood. And so if I hadn't gone, there's no way I would have become who I am today. And
Mm,
so I
mm.
really am grateful for all of the things that I endured to build character and become who I am, you know, as a result of hardship. And so I don't take it lightly. I don't take it for granted. You know, any of the things that I've learned or had to deal with, to overcome, all of those things built in this wonderful, strong human being who I am today. Because you know, I would not be this person. So I'm just grateful
Right.
for all of the experiences and all of the opportunities. Again, I I really wanted to do hair. I'm a creative. So I snuck and I did, um, I filled out an application to go to hair school. So,
Okay.
and my mom was like, "Oh, that doesn't matter. You're still not staying in New Orleans. No one stays here. No one." She said, "I didn't
Wow.
have the opportunity to go to school." And she said, "And you guys have the chance and there's no way you're staying here." And so she made us leave. And so if I had not gone, virtue would not be in existence, at least
Existence.
not that way.
Wow.
It happened so
So
quickly.
interesting. It
Hmm.
happened quickly. So
It
let's
did.
talk about New Orleans.
Uh-huh.
You grew born and raised in New Orleans, and New
Yes.
Orleans has an amazing music scene. Did
Hmm.
that have an effect at all on you all growing up in terms of exposure to music and then
Hmm.
subsequently wanting to do that?
You know, it's so funny because my whole family really sings. And so I will say, yes,
Mm,
New Orleans was very instrumental in wanting to sing, but more so because my family were singers.
okay.
My
Okay.
older sister, who is really successful in Atlanta now, she's not singing, but she has an amazing holistic company called
Mm,
Red's Kitchen Sink. Because our mom, you know, she believed in herbal supplements and, you know, she healed herself of a few crazy ailments that like the doctors were like, wow, what did you do? And so, but she was a singer. She had won an Anita Baker contest. I never forget.
Really?
I mean, she sounds so much like Anita Baker. Like, wow. We were like, wow, you should really become a singer. So she did for a while. We actually did some background stuff with her live. And it was fun, you know? And I just love how singing made me feel overall. It was an outlet to, you know, for me as a kid. And then, you know, music is universal. There's so many things that music can do that words can't, you know what I mean? And so I would listen to words and be encouraged by songs and try and I remember my first real experience with music by myself was with a really old tape recorder. You know how you had those old, I'm dating myself, tape recorders. I would go into the bathroom, I'd play the radio, and I would actually record off the radio. And it was Vanessa Bell Armstrong and Shirley Murdoch and singers like those that I always was drawn to. And so I would tape them off of the radio, and I would go into the bathroom and I would practice. I would practice and practice and practice. And it was something that I really, really wanted to do. So my mom did make sure we were, again, in choirs and parts of different groups. There's a group called Basic that started in New Orleans. And it was so fun to be able to go to rehearsals and sing with all of these amazing people that I actually partly grew up with. I knew Chanel from the group Trinity 5-7, and there was another young lady in it named Terry. We all sang in the same group, and there was another group called Men of Standard, and they started around the same time as we did as professionals. But one of the group members actually singing. We all are from New Orleans, so we all sang together in this group called Basic, Brothers and Sisters in Christ. So we have had I would say, yes, New Orleans is definitely instrumental in me wanting to sing, but from a different aspect. You know, we're more of a jazz culture in New Orleans, and
correct.
You know what I mean? A gospel was very prevalent as well, but jazz, totally. So I just knew it was great, and I just wanted to be a part of it in any way I could. And the way that I could be a part of it was to be a gospel singer, because that's what
has gospel always been the path? Has it always, did you also sing secular music?
I've never sang anything but gospel. And for a while I was just, you know, and I still will say, I feel, and it's nothing to any other artist that doesn't sing gospel, because I love all genres of music. I just feel like God gave me my gift, and it's such a special gift to me that I wanted to give it back to him. I wanted to use it to edify, you know, the body of Christ, and to encourage people like I've been encouraged over the years. So I feel like you get that type of encouragement from gospel music. So that's why I just stay true to it.
Fantastic. Well, folks, if you're just joining, we are here with Karima and Bean, who is her golden doodle.
He is bored and wants to play, so now he's grabbing all of his toys for me to.
Yes. You know. But of course, it's only once you start talking. He
only when I'm on
you.
Here. I can sit on the sofa all day, and he's like, come on, talk to me, play with me. He is a total human, and it's my fault.
Hi, Bean. It is. It's all your fault. So as long as you know that. So as we're doing that, we're going to take some comments. But first, let me just say hello to everybody. If you are just joining, you are in for a treat, and you've already been experiencing a treat. Those of you that are here, this is MediaScope, all things media, tech, and pop culture. We're here every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Today, we happen to have the good fortune to talk to Karima Trotter, who is a singer, inspirational singer, and an entrepreneur. And if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and hit that like button and also subscribe. We would be so appreciative. We're trying to grow our YouTube presence. And I'm Dr. Tachi, all things media, tech, and pop culture, also a media professor, a filmmaker, a media content producer, also a journalist. And I thank you all so much for being here today. And so we're going to go ahead and take some comments, Miss Karima, because we do have some comments. Let's see. Cheryl Wood says, give it back Back to God for his gift to you. Beautiful. Absolutely. Derek Tuggle. Derek Tuggle, how are you? Says, hey, Bean, how are you? At Divine Right loved Men of Standard. Yeah, they were a great group. Absolutely. And Rashawn is also a huge fan of Men of Standard, as is Charlene, a big fan
Yay!
of Men of Standard. Absolutely. Let's see. Derek is also saying hi to both you and
Hi,
I.
Derek.
Yes, Derek Tuggle. Here we go. And Cheryl is from Baton Rouge. I
Oh,
did not
nice.
know that. So
Home
you have a
girl.
yes, you have a home girl, a sister down there. Oh, wait, and I think I saw, did I see Johnny Ray? I did, and I can't find your comment right now, but Johnny Ray, I see you. Welcome, Johnny Ray. He does this wonderful show called After Dark with Johnny Ray. Make sure you check him out. He also is going to have a show on Indie Soup Media. So Chill with Elias is here. Oh, here we go. The question asker of the year. One of my favorites from YouTube, DS, we call him. And he says, hello to all of us, fellow media scopers. And Arlesia Mays, hey, says Bean wants his cameo on the program. Well, you got it, brother.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So, oh, and Derek spelled, do you spell Bean with an E at the end, or is it just like Bean? It's so
It's like
posh
Bean.
with the E. Okay,
It
but
is
it's
posh with
Derek.
the
You've
E.
made it so
You know,
posh.
my
It's
daughter
like
named him, and
Bean,
it's just like bean, red beans and rice. BEAN.
not like Bean, like British Bean. Okay.
Right. When I take him to be boarded at the kennel, they call him Mr. Bean, and that's what they have him listed as.
I
In
love that. I love Mr. Bean
Mr. Bean. Yes.
because I already love the show. So yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to call him Mr. Bean from now on. I love it. Fantastic. So, folks, we're having a fantastic, wonderful conversation with Karima Trotter. She is a singer, an inspirational singer, and an entrepreneur. So let's take a little journey and a little trip. As you said, we know each other because of CQ. Many
Yes.
people know you because of CQ outside of the world of music. CQ is where we all kind of got together. What
Yes.
was it during quarantine that made you say, you know, I want to release another single or release a single called Redeemer? Where did that come from?
So I'll back up. I was a designer. I designed homes with beautiful furniture and all of the things for
Wow.
one of the for a major
haven't you
company.
done?
I won't say the name, but everybody uses this brand. You know, and it was a great job. It was wonderful. It served its purpose. And you know, if you're in the music industry, yes, sir. Could you please? If you're in the music industry, you have to, you know, find your way and find other things to keep you afloat when things aren't, you know, steadily flowing. And so when I did that, I didn't know what job I was going to take. I just knew that I love people and I needed to be around people. And so I looked into working at this furniture store that is very popular. And I told them in the interview, I said, listen, I have never sold furniture. I said, but I love people. I said, and I think I can sell, you know, just about anything, especially if I love it. And so they hired me. And I said, my goal was to work there maybe a year, you know, just to give myself something to do. I really enjoyed going to work. And so about 2 years we're into, and I said, okay, God, I need something else. I said, I don't know if the something else is just me missing what I love to do initially, like music. But I mean, even in this beautiful, beautiful facility that I'm working in, I'm meeting all these amazing, affluent people. I'm designing amazing homes and, you know, picking all this amazing furniture. I still felt empty. And so I would walk those hallways, those long, long hallways, and I would pray and I would ask God what it is he wanted me to do. And so immediately when I did that, I said, it's music. I am empty because I'm not doing my first love. And that was music. And so I didn't have a clue as to how it was going to happen, because after doing all the music that I've done, after all the record deals that I've had, and, you know, the music industry has changed so much. You can do a lot on your own. But you still need funds. You know, you need money to make the machine, in other words, the wheel turn to get you where you need to be. And so I was like, I don't know how but I'm going to pray that you continue to show me where to go, what to do. And in that time frame, I was paying attention to a couple of friends that had music out, and with them having music out, I love this one song. It was called It Belongs to Me. And it was by my friend Lisa and my friends Lisa and Juan Winans. And so I not only listened to the song, I was listening to, not listening to, but looking at their production, like who actually produced it. The sound quality was amazing. Their pictures were amazing. Everything was awesome. And so I started telling God, I was like, God, I don't know who did their stuff, but without coveting, could you please, whoever did their stuff, I want that. I want exactly what they had. I want the support. I want the great pictures. I want the great sound. I want the great music. And so I literally prayed to act and ask God that specific prayer. Would you please bring whoever did their music into my life? Simple as that. So I went on about my day, every single day working and still praying. And please, Bean, please. And he's like,
Bean,
I need your attention now. But I felt a longing to be back on stage. And so it became stronger and stronger. And so I kept praying that prayer. And, it was the end of 2019 that it was in October. I think actually it was 2020. I prayed that the end of 2019, and I told God, whatever you have for me, I need it to, I don't want to go back to work, at the top of 2020, not knowing that there was going to be a pandemic or any of that. And so one Thursday afternoon, I received, this was after weeks and weeks of praying. I forgot about it because I started praying about in June, July. Then I forgot about it, and then I prayed again, and it was an ongoing thing of me, it wasn't happening soon enough. So I was like, maybe it's not going to happen, but I kept praying. And so in that prayer time, I literally had gotten a DM from that particular record label, and it freaked me out. And I was like, Dear Records, had no clue that was the label that actually produced and put out, this song, or my friends. And I'm just like, this is so weird. Forgetting that I had asked, I wanted exactly that, right?
Asked.
So
Yes.
You got to be careful what you pray for, because if this is alignment with God, it's gonna happen whether you're ready or not, right? And so just so happened I couldn't go back to work because of the pandemic. So he had answered that prayer, but I was like, I was able they had furloughed everybody. So I was still getting paid. Didn't know if I was going to have to return or was going to be able to return. They had cut and fired so many people because they had to. I didn't get cut, but I did. I was able to pay my bills and everything. And so I'm just like, who is this in my DMs? And the guy was like, what's up? And he knows that I'm from New Orleans. So if you're from New Orleans or the area, Wody is a term that, that is used. Like, what's up,
Wait,
Wody?
what is a term?
Girl,
What is the term?
It's Wody. Like, hey, Wody. It's like, what's up?
Oh, okay.
So
you can't say you never learned anything on MediaScope, folks.
WHOODIE, Wody. I was like, oh, is he from New Orleans? Like, what is this? He was like, hey, I was just on your page. Now, I missed the part because in the transition of me wanting to do music, I had an itch to write a song. So I reached out to my writing partner that's in Atlanta. We wrote this amazing song, found some music, and it was called Up. And I've written a song about how God keeps us up, and by this time we're in the pandemic, and so I'm like, well, I need to let people be encouraged to know that God will keep them up, no matter what it looks like in this, what we're going through. And so I wrote that song, and I posted it pieces on my page, just, hopefully somebody will get a glimpse or listen and want to inquire about it. And so that never happened, but I still got that DM from him. And I thought that was the reason why he'd reached out after I figured out, I was like, oh, he's from a real record label. And then he told me who he was. And I was like, you're kidding me. He said, this is my label. Lisa's on my label.
Wow.
Juan Winans is on. I was like, you're kidding me. Shut up. So he starts asking me what I'm doing musically. He's like, what's going on with you and your sisters? Are you still doing music? And I was like, okay, God, that was quick. Like it was quick in the sense of, how it happened, even though it took months for him to actually reach out, but it was quick.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it takes forever for someone to find a record deal, to find someone who believes in you, to
Yes.
find someone who wants to pour money into you, And so
Yes.
I just told him, I said, so did you find me because I posted the song on my page? He was like, I never even heard your song.
Wow.
He said, I think God told me to reach out to you because he said, Karima, there's a light on your page, like light, you shine bright. And he said, you're inspirational. And he said, I just wanted to see what was going on with you and your sisters because we missed you guys. I was like, what? So I told him we weren't singing as a group collectively, but, I would be interested in doing something, by myself. And he was like, well, let's do it. So literally by December, that was October, he reached it. December, I had a record deal. Right as we were going through the pandemic, yes. And so
right. So you're talking about December of 2019.
Yes. So I wrote the song, but I didn't think to put it on my page until afterwards. The timing is kind of like weird, but I thought that he had seen something that I posted. So I was just blown away by the fact that he didn't hear anything that I posted. Actually, now I'm thinking I did post that song in 2019 because that was the only way I would have been able to say, how did you find me? Was it by the song? And so that's what it was. And so we had restructured the song when we started again in 2020. So I can make it a positive song about keeping us up in the pandemic. I had written a devotional with my sisters. I had no idea we were going to be locked down by March. You know what I mean? So I changed the words and everything. And he was like, I think we should do something else. So I had the record deal and he was just like, maybe we should do a different song. So the week prior to that, I'm in my car and I'm just playing Nicole C. Mullen's song, Redeemer. I love this song. It's an oldie, but it's a very encouraging song. It reminds you that God is God and ain't nothing is impossible without him because he is our Redeemer. He is going to make sure everything is in. This man has put the sun, the moon, the sky, everything in place. He created me, and why can't I trust him? So I always love the song Redeemer. So in that week, it just stayed in my mind. And so when we talked again, I had gotten the day we talked. Right before that, I got a call from my sister. I was in my car playing the song, and when you're in the car and the phone rings, it stops all of the music. And so it was my baby sister Heather, and I was telling her that I was humming. I was telling her about my day and everything, and I was still humming. My Redeemer lives. So I was singing that. She was like, "You know what, Karima?" She said that should be the song you do over it. I was thinking it, but I never verbalize it. So he's in the kitchen now on the counter.
Yeah, he is determined. He will have his day.
Come here
on camera.
Come here. Go and sit down. Now you're gonna get embarrassed. You want to be embarrassed? Sit down. He is
determined. His presence will be made known.
I'm so sorry.
No, that's fine. No worries.
For those the door down.
Don't worry about it. For those of you who don't know, Bean is like, you all should watch Karima's live. She does a lot of Instagram lives, and Bean is a fixture. So I already knew that he was going to be there, so it's no problem at all. In fact, we enjoy Mr. Bean.
Come out of there. Come out of the kitchen.
He's like, my time to show out.
Come and sit down. He's trying to get the rest of his cookies off the counter, and I pushed
How dare he?
I pushed him back, so he knows he's in trouble. Yes, you're in trouble.
Well, while we're doing that, let me take some. Because I want to get back to the whole thing of Redeemer, and that should be the song that you make over. However, let's take some comments here. First of all, those of you that are watching on my personal Facebook page, your comments are not populating, so I have to actually physically check. We've got Marisa Tigney, who is here, and she says, awesome conversation. Love Karima's stories of her music journey. Also, Kathleen Dean, what's up? How are you? Kente Ferguson, I see you. Natalie Crew, what's up, Natalie Crew? Good to see you. Also, Terry Johnson is here on Facebook, but she's also joining us on the tubing of the U or YouTube. Good to see you. And Miss Elise, how are you? How are you? And then let's get to some of these other comments. Terry Nixon says he's adorable, talking about Bean. Hey, Terry, how are you? Cheryl says he's like a kid. He is like a big kid.
Total kid.
Rich quote of mine.
Come out of there.
Rich. Bean, if I were you, I would relax because after
Bean,
this is over.
Come and sit down. He must have knocked it down really good because he keeps going in there to sit down.
To try and get the cookies.
Uh-huh.
No cookies for you.
Lie down. Lie down. Lie down.
Rich quote of mine is here. Rich, how are you? I went to college with Rich. We were in undergrad together, and he says, love getting a chance to listen to the great Dr. Tachi and friends. Rich with Lou Puppy. Okay, it's pronounced like Lou. Giving us something we always learn on MediaScope. There we go. And Chill with Elias is laughing at Bean. Terry Johnson says people and things will be placed in your path that you need at the moment you need them. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Chill with Elias, our friend Diaz says, where God guides, God provides. Hey, don't get me started in here. We're about to have revival.
I love that. Where God guides, provides. I love that.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Christine is here. Hey, Christine says, wow, look at God. Absolutely. Cheryl says, amazing. Terry says, wow, God is good. Absolutely. Randy, how are you? Our CQ brother in Honolulu says hello to both of us. Also, Chill with Elias says, I say, if you have an itch, scratch it. There we go. Absolutely. And After Dark with Johnny Ray's awesomeness every episode. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. And I think, Elise Starworth is over here. Hello, hello, hello. I think I got everybody. I did. D Tuggle, I think I said hey, but if not, hey, D Tuggle. Now that we've got all that out of the way, and continue to make comments and ask questions. There's a lot of you in here. So thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you with all of our hearts. So you were talking about the fact that your sister was saying that Redeemer should be the song that you remake. Go ahead.
So I did that, and I when she told me that's the song you should be recording, it's an amazing song, and I was like, oh my God, I thought that. So it was confirmation to do that song. And so when I brought it to the record label, he loved it. He said, I know exactly what we're going to do with it. I know exactly who I want to produce it for you. And so I had to fly out to LA. I feel like my timeline is off. So I thought, sure, the pandemic definitely started in 2020, the top of 2020. Yes. So it was definitely the end of 2019. And so it feels like February. However, the timeline is off, but this is the story of how it happened. I was able to get to LA and record the song with Aaron Lindsay, and he is like, oh my God, if anybody in gospel like is like a big song that you know and love, he's produced it and co-written it or had something to do with it. And so I knew working with him was going to be fantastic. It was one of the best experiences I've ever had as a solo artist in the studio with a producer that was so like just focused and knowing exactly what he wanted, to bring to the song and for me to pull out of me for this song. And so, and he didn't have a whole lot to pull out, because when I say the song has always been a favorite of mine, and it's just singing it and making it mine. And that's what we did. We made it ours. And so it literally took off. It took off so much so that it ended up being number 1, 2 consecutive weeks on Billboard, on the Billboard gospel charts. So that was an amazing, like, oh my God, before it even went to number 1, I had, in Club Quarantine, I'm in there and I get to know Derek a little bit, and we get to become friends a little bit. He's just such a kind and, just generous person. And so without even thinking, I was like, oh, you want to hear this song that I'm gonna, release, or that I'm doing? And I sent it to him. I never asked him to play it. I never thought he would play it. I didn't even know that he would play gospel until he started playing gospel one Sunday. And I was like, wow. And so Redeemer had been out for a little while. And so he texted and said, hey, I'm going to play Redeemer. And I was like, really? Played it on a Sunday. And man, it took off even more. And so, yeah, it was just one of those songs that people relate to and people was familiar with, which was a very good idea to do, as I was coming off of singing with my group, my sisters. I needed a familiar song. So that's why. Oh, thank you, Cheryl. Is it Shelly? Thank you. I just knew it was the right song, and so it just did what it was supposed to do. And so I'm like, it was none other than God who told me to do it, and the way that he did it. And so what's so crazy is, like, steps are always ordered, no matter what it is you're doing and where you end up, your steps are ordered. And so in doing this music, what I've realized recently is that if I hadn't done the music, like if I hadn't gone to Oakwood to become, whatever I wanted to be a journalist too, Dr. Tachi. That's what I started off. I wanted to do communications and be a journalist.
Oh,
because
yeah.
I was like, I got to do something fun that included people. And so that was what I was drawn to. And so, like I was just saying, if I hadn't gone to Oakwood, I would not have gotten the record deal. But if I hadn't done that music, that song, I wouldn't have been able to go to the Stellar Awards and present at one of the pre-shows and find my now mentor that I've had for the last 2 years that has been helping me to get brokerage for my soup that's going to be everywhere.
Wow.
So,
we're going to get to the soup. We're going to get to the soup.
So when I say things are like steps are ordered, that's as simple as I can say it. Like, he knows the plans he has for you. And I mean, it is so true that when he has something for you, nothing can stop it. Nothing, no one can stop it. And the avenues in which he takes you may not be ideal. And, and you're thinking, oh, this is not how I envisioned it. This is not how I thought it would go. This wasn't it wasn't supposed to go this way. Yes, it was. It was absolutely supposed to go this way, because I haven't done music. We did another song called It's All Right to Cry, but it didn't have the major impact. It's a beautiful song written by Aaron Lindsay and his daughter. And I resonated with it because it literally is all right to cry, because people have gone through so many things, and and sometimes a good cry is a release. You need to cry. Yeah. And so I love the song. So we did that. And I was just thinking, like, God, like, really, what else is going to go on with the music? It's just the end for right now. But I was reminded that everything happens in the order in which it's supposed to. So if I had not done a song, and if I had not, I wouldn't know you. I wouldn't know all these amazing CQ people. I wouldn't know Derek. Exactly. I wouldn't know nothing. My life would not be the same. You know what I mean? And so I attribute all that amazingness to God. Like, there is no way I would have seen the person that has been, and I've known this guy that's in the industry since I was about 19, and he's always been respectful. Him and his wife were a beautiful couple. I think she tried to manage Virtue at one point, but they lived in Nashville for a little while. And so he followed me and Carly to the car, because Carly my daughter was with me. And he said, listen, I know it's been years since I've talked to you. He said, but you did such a phenomenal job at reading that teleprompter at the last minute. Like, are you doing voiceovers? Like, do you want to, like, what are you doing? So I gave him a rundown of everything I wanted to do in the industry, everything I was doing, music, and my hopes and my dreams. And so we exchanged numbers. And from that day on, he has been such an inspiration. He and his best friend, who is another good friend of mine here in Nashville. And I've just been blessed and fortunate to be around people who are successful, people who are inspirational, and actually have relationships with amazing people that could actually pull me through doors that I couldn't get through by myself. And so when I told him, he asked me, my mentor, his name is Skip Barrett, And he asked me, he said, well, what name all the things you want to do. And so when I told him, he told me, he said, listen, I think I have an idea. He said, I'm not going to ever tell you what to do. I'm just going to give you my thoughts and we can go from there. So when I gave him all the list of what I wanted to do, the Karima brand, you know, the clothing brand, the singing, and then I mentioned soup. And he was like, soup? He said, you mean as in food? Like soup, like food? I said, yes, soup. And he
Well,
was like,
so hold on. Before we get, because we're going to get into this soup story. Let
okay,
me
okay.
take some comments and then let's get into soup, because I think I told you soup is like one of my favorite foods.
Yes.
It's weird. People are like, well, whose favorite food is soup? Mine. Okay. Soup is just great. So we're going to talk about this, but we have a couple of, first of all, hey to Shawana Kennedy. Shawana Kennedy is saying having amazing people around is everything. And she's shaking her pom-pom because that's what she does. The pom-pom shake when she celebrates people. Also, Novice Johnson, hello, Soror. How are you? Good to see you. And Marisa has a question. She says, when there is a challenge in her life or your life, what is the song that restores your faith that God has you? So basically, what song lets you know that God has your back?
Oh, there's so many, but off the top of my head is Redeemer. Like
Redeemer.
it seriously, when I listen to it, I get encouraged. And when you listen to the words, who put the stars and the moon in place? Like, I mean, he spins the whole world around. You know what I mean? Like this man stops the ocean where the sand meets. Like detailed. I have goosebumps. Detailed. And so that is one of the reasons I needed to do that song, because it is so powerful. And when I'm down, I totally listen to that. And I love CC Winans, Believe for It. Her whole CD is amazing. So those are like a couple of my go-to songs.
This is great. So Terry Johnson says this, that you need to tag dog food and pet stores in your IG posts and also select the right hashtags because Bean is too cute. Listen,
Will. Thank
do
you.
start doing that. Terry
Yes.
Johnson is one of our resident social media people. And we
Okay.
also have Jasmine G, who is in here as well. She's the other resident social media person. So definitely tag dog food brands.
Okay.
Thea is here. Thea says, Karima, hello.
That's my girl. I love
Hey,
Thea.
Thea, welcome. Dr. Vibe is also in here. What's up, Dr. Vibe? And he says, great
Hello.
story,
Thank
joining us from
you.
Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And Elise says, it was meant for you to remake Redeemer so that we would all be blessed.
I agree. I
Absolutely.
agree.
Absolutely. And Rashawn says, amen. What God has for you is for you. Divine
Hallelujah.
Rice says, wow, yes, D Nice. Absolutely. And Arlesia Mays cries every time she hears
Oh, thank you.
your version of Redeemer. Absolutely.
I,
And
I, I
Wolf, hey
cry
Wolf.
so crazy.
Wolf says it's a beautiful song. It really is.
That is so
It's
good.
gorgeous. And here we go. Chill with Elias. I was waiting for you to ask a question. Diaz has this question, and he asks, how can Christians or people of faith do a better job of unity and not fighting each other over different points of view? Very important question. What do you
You
think?
know, that's a good question. I just think that everybody will have a different opinion. I said the way to not make it messy is to be open-minded, to listen to different points of view, or how, I mean, everybody's walk of life isn't the same. And so, but we do serve the same God. And so there is always um God is not, first of all, he doesn't deal in confusion. So he wants us all to get along, number one. But I think being open minded is definitely the key, because just because you experience something one way, and I experienced it a different way, it doesn't mean that it won't work out sometimes the same at the end of the story. So you have to be open to hear and listen and find resolve at the end of the day.
Absolutely. All right. So we have some more comments to that. Thank you for that question, DS. And I know you have more coming. Oh, and we have see, we were talking about time flying, right? So it's already
Wow.
7. Can we do just a little bit longer?
Absolutely.
Just a tiny bit
We're
longer?
good.
Okay.
We're good. We're good.
Okay. Okay. Good. Good. Good.
Mhm.
So, folks, if you're just joining us, you are in for a treat. You definitely want to go back and watch the beginning of this. We are here today with Karima Trotter, who is an inspirational singer and an entrepreneur, and we're going to talk about all of those things in just a moment. I
Absolutely.
got to know Karima.
PDR.
That's that British thing because British people sometimes they'll say instead
PR.
of saying Karima, they say Karima.
Yes.
So that's what that
Okay.
came from. So Karima, I got
My
to know
mom calls
Karima.
me Karima sometimes too, and it's
Does she?
fun.
Karima.
Creamer.
Ah. No,
They're different.
it's hilarious. So I good. Then I'm right in line with mom. So I got to know Karima because of Club Quarantine and D Nice. And, a lot of us that are card carrying Club Quarantine members, we always say thank you to D Nice because it is because of him and his
Yes,
efforts and selflessness throughout the
absolutely.
pandemic, spreading music and love to us that we all got to know each other and
Yes.
we all got to be friends. And I think it's absolutely amazing. So, D Nice, thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
you.
you once
Appreciate
again.
you.
We appreciate you. Gary Lanham, he is a good friend, realtor. He's how I found this place. Gary Lanham, realtor extraordinaire. He says, this people build us up. Thank you for your inspiration, Karima.
No, absolutely.
And Jose Hernandez. Hey, Jose, how are you? Good to see you joining us from Baltimore. Also, Shawana says nothing like a great bowl of broccoli and cheese soup. Shawana also says it is well with my soul. No matter what's going on, God has the power to make all things well.
That's right.
Novice is my soror. We used to be in the same chapter down here of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated.
Lovely.
We were the same chapter, and she said she worked with MCA Records for 12 years. It would have been a joy to promote you and your music, and yes to the soup.
Oh, thank you.
One of my favorite bisons, ever. David Benjamin Eccles is here. What's up, David? And Shawana says yes. Be open-minded, willingness to see different perspectives, and stop making and taking things personally. Absolutely. And Marisa says the CQ connections are real.
They are.
And let's see. I want to get some more comments over here. Rich Quote of Mine says, thank you. That was beautiful. As all of us walk with God along different paths and understand in different ways. And the interesting thing the thing I love here is that we have everybody here from around the world. Like this is a truly international audience. I'm so like we have people that watch from the Philippines, people that watch from Japan, and really thankful. So we have people from all different faiths as well. And so Rich happens to be Jewish, which is great. And so we have all different types of people here. And let's see, D Carpio was saying awesome show. And Chill with Elias said beautiful, well said. Oh, Bernadette. Okay, we have our this is why I try not to forsake LinkedIn. LinkedIn, hello. Soror Bernadette Norris Weeks is here. How are you? She is an amazing attorney. She also is the founder of the Women of Color here in South Florida. And actually, there's also a chapter in Atlanta, Georgia as well. What's up? How are you, Bernadette? It is so good to see you. And let's see. Joan says, Karima's version of Redeemer came just at the right time as I struggled with COVID. Absolutely. Rich also says in Buffalo, soup isn't food, it's winter survival. Let me tell you, and that's probably why I like soup, because I think Karima, maybe you don't, that I grew up partially in Buffalo, New York, in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Yes.
Yeah, Ann Arbor and Buffalo. So that's probably why I like soup.
Yes.
Listen, and because it's wet there too, because of the lake, it's wet and cold. I was always miserable. Let me tell you. Misery City. Sorry.
Anyway. The cold man, excuse me.
Oh, Wolf, this is Randy. Okay, hey Randy. I think I remember that. I said, I think I know that. Let's see. And Chill with Elias has a question, and then we want to get to some of your entrepreneurial pursuits. That's hard to say. What would you tell someone who knows they have a gift to sing, however, is afraid to step out and find out?
Well, I recently I have a good girlfriend here who has the number one bakery in town, and she stopped me from saying do it scared because that was my thing. Try it,
Mm,
do it scared. I mean, in essence, I am doing it because I mean, even though I'm afraid to, a failing or whatever, but she's like, well, God didn't give you the spirit of fear, Karima. And she said that fear is not of God. And so it just made me look at things a different way. And so I would tell someone who wants to, who has a gift of singing and is afraid to step out, how will they ever know the impact their voice will make if they don't try? You can do it. You can try. I mean, and for me, I literally make everything a prayerful decision because I am tired of messing up, doing things my way, and that's just the humanness in us. We think we know how to do something, and it wasn't almost always my story to say, oh, let me ask God. Let me do it. Yes, I love that. How about do it in faith? So that is stepping out in faith and trusting yourself to know that if God gave you this gift, he's going to provide and open doors for you to do this, for someone to be a blessing. And our thing was, even if we were only able to reach a small amount of people, even if only one person said they enjoyed it, my job is done. So you also have to like reach beyond, wanting to be on the scale of like reaching 10 million people. If you reach two people, if you reach 500 people, your job is you're doing what you're called to do. And that is how I have like really I've incorporated that thought process into what I'm doing, and it gives me confidence to know that I'm supposed to be here even if I only was able to reach a small amount of people versus the masses. I know my job is done.
your job is done, and your job is done well. It is done so well. All right.
So,
So as we start to wrap up, let's talk a little bit about you are an entrepreneur as well, and you started to mention this, and this goes for a lot of us in the creative fields. If you are an actor, if you are a singer, if you are doing something creative, usually your work is gig work, right? It's from gig to gig to gig, and so you tend to say to yourself, what else can I do that is also going to garner streams of income, right? So not only do you have the soup as we're going to talk about, but you have a Karima brand, which came first? Was it the soup or
the
the
soup
clothing?
was definitely before Karima brand. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Mhm.
So well, let's talk soup. Why
Yeah.
soup?
I don't, and I'm just going to be on it. Like when I ask God to show me what to do, because oftentimes in the industry, like you just said, in any industry that you are fending for yourself, like trying to create revenue and everything, you want to know how to start it, like what to do, like what is my niche, how do I get there, right? So I'll be very transparent and tell you, I was newly divorced, maybe like not new, but I've been divorced for 13 years, and so 2016 I'd hit a wall because the music industry is up and down. It's up and down. And I'm just like, God, I don't want to work for anybody else. You promised that you take care of me. You've given me gifts. And, I've always loved to cook, but I never knew it would be soup, right? So I'm at my wit's end. I'm crying. I'm asking God to show me what to do. I need something that is for me, created by me, that's not going to cost me a lot of money, because I didn't have a lot. And so I needed it to be something that I knew how to do already. And I literally had a craving for chicken noodle soup. Y'all, I don't even like chicken noodle soup. I like soup, but chicken noodle, like from different places, it's never been really good. It's always salty. It's always one carrot and one piece of celery and one noodle. And so I'm like, that's not delicious to me. I like delicious food. I know that there has to be a reason I'm craving soup for a whole week. Like, why, God? Why do I want soup? And so, y'all, the craving was so strong, I literally had to make the soup. And I went to the store because I had everything except chicken. I don't, eat a lot of meat. And so I didn't have it. So I went to Walmart and I got I got some chicken. And so I'm not knowing how much soup this was going to yield. It like soup stretches, the more you add, the more things you put in it, it just grows and grows and grows. And so I made this amazing pot of chicken noodle soup that tasted so delicious. And, you can be a little biased when you're cooking your own food. You're thinking, oh yeah, maybe this is not as delicious as it is to me, to someone else. I'm gonna bring my daughter some when I pick her up from school because she always want a snack, right? Now, prior to that, I was in the shower and I had been praying for something for a very, very long time. And so I forgot, about making the soup. This one day I got in the shower, I was getting ready because I needed to pick, that was the same day I made the soup. I had to get in the shower and get ready to pick my daughter up from school. So I created all this soup and I'm not thinking about all the things that I've asked God to give me, something. And the something was a business. Like I want something for me, something that I can be proud of. I was grateful for the singing opportunities, but God, it ain't bringing no money in. What do I do? And so I'm in the shower and I'm crying and I'm like, God, you promised me, I just don't want to have to struggle anymore. Please just show me what to do. And audibly I heard, fill the jars. I'm like, fill the jars. What does that mean? I'm talking to myself in the shower. Like, I don't know what that means. So I just, I'm just trying to get out the shower at this point, trying to not be late to pick up my daughter. And I heard it again, fill the jars. No idea what that meant at the time. So I got out the shower, got to the kitchen. I'm dressed and I'm like, God, I need something to put the soup in so I can bring Carly some soup when I pick her up from school because she wants, Smoothie King, McDonald's. I'm like, nah, girl, we on a budget. Can't do that today. You're going to eat soup. So I was bringing her soup to eat. And I literally looked in my pantry and I had mason jars. I had 3 mason jars with tops. And it was so weird because I'd had them for a very long time. They were from a juice fast that I'd done a while back. And I still kept these jars with the tops. So I was like, oh, this is perfect. So I go and I pour my soup in the jar and literally my hand shakes. I'm like, what in the world is that? And I'm looking. I said, you want me to sell soup? I was like, nah, this cannot be real. Like, who's gonna buy soup from me? Who wants soup? Like, seriously, chicken noodle soup? I said, so I said, I'm gonna test you, God. Like, listen, if this is what you want me to do, then I need a name for this company. I need it to be available on all social media platforms. I need it to be available when I do a website. Within 15 minutes, I had sat down and created the page for that soup chick that he gave me the name. And I was just blown away that it was available. And when I think about it, someone had gifted me a brand new printer. I'm like, why are you gifting me a printer? I was like, I think you might need a printer. I don't know why. God said just give you a printer. Not knowing that I was going to have to print labels to ship this soup that I didn't even know how to ship. But my friend that I mentioned earlier has an amazing cupcake shop here. She taught me everything I knew about shipping with FedEx and packaging and bubble wrap. And I was like, glass jars, like she said, this is what we do. She said, make a video, made a video, put it on Facebook. And I had so many comments, so many inboxes. How do we order the soup? We want the soup. And I was almost overwhelmed. And just like that, November 2016, I was in business. That soup chick was available. And I decided, I didn't know much about making my own website, but I started on Wix. I was like, I'm going to try it. Ain't nothing I can't try and, try and do. But someone knew that my sister knew that I was trying it. And so she reached out to a friend. And this guy reached out to me and said, hey, I heard you need help with the website. I was like, hold up. This is probably going to be like $4,000, right? I was like, I cannot afford $4,000 for a website. He's like, no. He said, I'm going to help you. He said, not just help you. I'm going to gift you your website. I'm going to give it to you. So everything I needed was given to me. And this was totally God saying, girl, you have the gift of cooking. Cooking is a ministry. What you do is a ministry. Singing is a ministry. You have gifts. I've given you multiple gifts. And he's telling me all of this, like, it's going to be larger than life. And so by December, I had shipped probably over 30 boxes of soup across the country.
30
And we were
boxes.
30
Wow.
boxes. And it wasn't just like, 2 jars. It was 12
Like
jars.
boxes, yeah.
It was 24 jars. It was 36 jars. It was a lot of soup that I was shipping. And just like that soup chick was
Wow.
born and in existence.
Wow.
And so I kind of stopped because I was doing it all. I did everything myself. I would cook it. I would package it. I would take it to FedEx. I would even deliver it around the cities. I had cornbread muffins that I was creating. My mom recipe as a vegan. Nobody ever still believes that these cornbread muffins are vegan. So they are so vegan.
Wow.
Anything I make, like pancakes and bread and stuff like it's vegan and it's delicious. And so I was given soup and cornbread, and I'm just like, wow. So God really told me, he's like, it's going to be everywhere. I didn't know what that meant. So fast forward to today, the pandemic has happened and it stopped all of my FedEx, orders because nothing was guaranteed. And this was perishable food. And I was just like, I'm overwhelmed. And I had to move out of the space I was in because the guy was selling my whole building. And so my stove changed and everything. I was just like, oh, this is a nightmare. So I took a break from it, but God didn't. He was already working everything he needed me. That's how, it came into happened where I was supposed to do Redeemer because it, like Miss Elise said, it blessed so many people. It gave so many people hope, including Derek D. Nice. But it was also because I needed to see and meet Skip. Skip needed to know what I was doing. So he said, I want to be your Jeffrey. Told me the whole story of Oprah and how Bill Cosby helped her find her Jeffrey, who is still brokering deals for Oprah to this day. He said, let me be your Jeffrey. Let me find you. He said, I don't know a lot of people, but I know a lot of people who do. He said, I don't know a lot of things about food, but I know a lot of people is what he said. I have relationships. So fast forward to today, I am in negotiations to be in hospitals and in hotels, in airports, in stadiums, schools, universities.
And that's where the money is, in those contracts.
In institutions.
Wow.
So I have goosebumps when I tell this story because God is so faithful. And I'm a crybaby because God is really, he is so good. And if we just trust that he knows every path that he has and wants for us, we just have to be open to listen, willing to put the work in, but willing also to believe in yourself, in the gifts that he's instilled in us. And I'm so grateful that the times that I wanted to give up, that I didn't. And sometimes I still do. That's just the human part of being human, because things don't happen in order all the time, but they always happen the way that they're supposed to. So when you trust in God and when you ask him to help you and to bless you and to make things happen and doors open, he does it. And he does it in such a big way that you're mind blown. The verse even says, exceedingly abundantly above all you can think or ask. I would have never fathomed that, something that I could create would be in the stages that it's in. And so I'm just grateful. And I just want people to have hope and to know that God is real. Your Redeemer lives, and he lives that we may live, and he died that we might live, and not just live abundantly. And so I'm passionate about telling people about the things that God can do. Seriously, if you trust and believe in him, that's all he really asks of you, is to believe that. And it's the one thing that is so hard when we get older. And that's why I said to have childlike faith is really important. Not to forget the things that he's done for us in the past. You know what I mean? The things that he wants to do. And if we just keep our minds stayed on him and keep our company, in good company, and people who believe in you and want to see you prosper and help you go to the next level. Because none of us can do this by ourselves. We think that, when we see people, some people have the gall to say, oh, I've done this all by myself. You can do nothing by yourself. You can do only everything you do with God's help. And so whether you want to acknowledge it or not, it is only by the grace of God that people are doing the things that they're called to do. And so I just want to implore people to continue to have faith, even when it looks grim and dark. And trust me, there have been so many nights that I've cried myself to sleep, that I felt hopeless. I didn't feel like I was worth anything. I just didn't feel like it was going to happen. And so God reminded me of all the things that he's already done. And that's what I mean. We forget all the things that he's brought us through. And it could be little things, but those little things add up to be big things because you wouldn't have done them by yourself. So I just want to encourage people to, I just, before we started, I wrote God a letter. To thank him, for everything and what I'm still believing him for. And I mean, your process is your process, but that helps me feel complete. It helps me feel whole, and it helps me remember all the things that God has already done for me and the things that he wants to do. He wants to blow your mind, and he can if you let it. He can. And so I'm just really excited, and I'm grateful, for this stage. And I could not have imagined, I couldn't have imagined. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So you guys will see that stick everywhere. It's the second phase will be in grocery stores and all the things.
Listen, if you don't go and get this anointed soup, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I mean, honestly, that every time it feels like anytime you take a spoonful of that soup, this story is in it and will be poured into it. So it's absolutely going to be amazing. I'm already in line waiting for this soup. And Terry Johnson says, remember, your test will turn into your testimony. Totally. Divine Right is crying right along with you. Woo. I mean, this is thank you, first of all, for your transparency. Thank you for being so vulnerable. Thank you for sharing yourself with us. This is absolutely amazing.
I can barely see straight. I'm like, Karima, pull it together. But it's just, God is amazing. And I mean, I don't, like, people say it all the time. And then, I was younger watching my mom would cry in church and didn't understand. But when you have a relationship, when you have gone through things, when you have grown up, you know what I mean? And you have to do things the way you have to do them to get by, you understand. You know what I mean? You want that connection. You will, like, I look back and my mom is 81 today, and I'm just like, wow. And not today, but like she's 81.
Oh, but she's 81.
December, yeah. But
that's okay. Happy early birthday, Mom.
To watch her story, she has so many amazing stories, and to be an extension of this woman of faith. It is because of her I am who I am. So I am so grateful for the relationship that I have with God because of my mom, a woman of faith. Yeah.
Wonderful. Jasmine G says, powerful testimony. I tear up every time Karima shares it. Christine Heyman, who is Gemini Joy, by the way, says, God is indeed faithful. Thank you for your testimony, Karima. I am very happy for you. Terry Nixon says, thank you for sharing your story, Karima. I'm so happy for you. Cheryl Woods is just clapping up a storm. And Terry Johnson says, Karima has a book here. Hint, hint.
That's next.
Okay. We already knew it was coming. You already do everything else. Of course there's a book coming. C Love says, you never know how God will blow our minds. Absolutely. Wow. This was absolutely amazing. On the final note, because I want to end right here, but we didn't talk about Karima Brand. Are you still doing Karima Brand?
I've actually given it just a rest because the soup is my focus at the moment. And I feel like everything I've done, it's, I did that for I've always wanted to do that too. I've always drawn clothes, and I wonder where my daughter get it from. And like, she's such oh my God, an amazing creative and scholar. So I've always wanted to like do something with clothes. And so I was able to create a brand called, I'm just gonna show you, I wear this. It's called Make It Rain Sunshine. And this is a whole nother interview, Dr. Tashi. It's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. How God
show us again, please.
Make It Rain Sunshine. But it's actually inactive because I want to find better vendors for the quality of that I want my brand, my name to be connected to. So I've suspended it just for a second. But when it comes back, I'll be sure to share. But the story of Make It Rain Sunshine and how God gave me that as well, you know, is just incredible. How he told me, you're going through a rough time right now. It was a horrible breakup, you know, after the divorce and everything. The divorce was already in place. About 3-4 years after the divorce, I'd gone into a relationship that I knew wasn't supposed to be, and God ended it. And so he just, you know, I'm in my closet on my knees crying and asking God why. You know, this, you know, why I needed this to happen, you know, I want a family, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, nope, not him. Nope. And so he said, what you're going to do is create a brand, and it's going to be called Make It Rain Sunshine, because through your misfortune, you know, and you're going to be able to bless people with your story, and you're going to be able to help other women pull through. And I was like, God, this is crazy. I didn't want to do it, so I delayed it. And so I have a whole write-up, a whole business plan for Make It Rain Sunshine, and how God wants us to make it rain sunshine despite our circumstances. You can make it rain sunshine in any situation. And so that's how Make It Rain Sunshine came about. But it's a much more detailed story, but that's like the gist of it. So I created
that's for part 2 when you come back, because you are coming back.
I'll tell you guys about that, and we'll see where we are with it, because I literally wanted to find better. I had one assistant helping me, and it just got to like, it needs to be right. If my name is gonna be on it, I need the clothes and the, you know, the quality to be just right. And so that's what I suspended it for a minute, and then soup is my total focus at the moment. So yeah. But I've actually had some inquiries for music again as well, but I'm like, okay.
Of course you do. When it rains, it pours.
So I just want to focus on the soup at the moment. And so once this is taken off, then I can, like my mentor said, he said, soup will fund whatever you want to do, because you won't even have to you won't have a need for anyone to like invest in you. You can invest in yourself. And there you go. Is what I want to do.
There you go. So, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Karima Trotter. This is her on Instagram. I think that's correct. Yes?
That is correct.
Okay, good. Because if it was wrong, I'm like, uh-oh. But make sure you follow Karima on Instagram for all of her adventures in soup, adventures in clothing, adventures in music. She is an amazing person on top of being a great singer and a wonderful entrepreneur. So make sure that you are following her. Karima, thank you so much for being on and being transparent, being vulnerable, and sharing yourself with the MediaScope Massive.
It was my pleasure. And I just feel like if you're not real, what's the point? What is the point?
On that note, we're going to get ready to end. Once again, this works. There were so many of you in here today on all the different platforms. Thank you. We had a lot of people in here. So thank you for everybody who watched. For those of you that are going to watch on the replay, we appreciate you as well. And we're going to go ahead and end. And Karima, hang tight before you head off, okay? So I love you for watching. I bid you adieu. You guys, myself, the soup, the clothing, the music, and Karima, we're all going to exit. Point to the left. Well, actually point to the right, Karima. There we go. We're going to exit stage left. You got to do it opposite out here. So thank you, everyone. Hang tight, Karima, and I will see you next time. Cheers.
Close the doors, walk across the corridor. We got something to show you. Media is our repertoire. Fed with the same news, no channel to use. Cruise control mentalities. Here we offer you. We can show you on your way. The content that never strays from positive and uplifting. Once a week, the scope gifted. With the presence in your eyes, what a distraction. Beautiful to soul, and especially in action. It's here, not fashion. Came in abundance. Films like this, Sundance, tech like the pop on Tachi Queen. You are.